So today let us start with brain. It is a continuation of the brain. So last class we have completed with cerebrum and brainstem. So today let us start with cerebellum. Okay. So the cerebellum is situated behind the pons and immediately below the posterior position of the cerebrum, occupying the posterior cranial fossa. So it is ovoid in shape and has two hemispheres separated by a narrow division called as vermis. So grey matter, it will form the surface of the cerebellum and white matter lies inside. So functions. So the cerebellum is concerned with the coordination of voluntary muscular movements, posture and balance. So cerebellar activities are not under our voluntary control. So cerebellum controls and coordinates the movement of various group of muscles, ensuring smooth, even and precise actions. That is very minute, accurate actions. So it coordinates activities associated with the maintenance of the balance and equilibrium of the body. So it maintains our body's balance and equilibrium. So sensory input for these functions are derived from the muscles, joints, eyes and ears. So these receptors are called as proprioceptors. The impulses from the proprioceptors will from muscles and joints indicate the position related to the body as a whole, that is whole body position, and those impulses from the eyes and ears are semicircular canals provide information about the position of the head in the space. Okay. So impulses from the cerebellum influences the contraction of skeletal muscle so that the balance and posture of our body and the head is maintained. So damage to the cerebellum, it will result in clumsy, uncoordinated muscular movements. Okay, there will be improper coordination of the muscular movements, staggering gait, that is the body's posture will be affected, and inability to carry smooth, steady and precise movements, that is more accurate, and you need concentrated work or drawing or whatever the thing, you cannot do it in a perfect manner. Okay. So next is a spinal cord. So spinal cord is the elongated, almost cylindrical part of your central nervous system, which is suspended in the vertebral canal surrounded by the meninges and cerebrospinal fluid. So it is a continuous above with the medulla oblongata and extends from the upper border of the atlas, that is the vertebral bone, to the lower border of the first lumbar vertebrae. So up to first lumbar vertebrae your spinal cord will be extend. So it is approximately 45 centimeter length in the adult male and is about the thickness of your little finger. So when the specimen of CSF is required to taken, so you have to take it from the second lumbar vertebrae, and this procedure it is called as lumbar puncture. So except for the cranial nerves, the spinal cord is the nerve tissue link. The cranial nerves means nerves arising from your brain. Okay. Spinal nerves means nerves arising from the spinal cord. So except the cranial nerves, the spinal cord in the nerve tissue, it is the link between the brain and rest of our body. So nerves conveying impulses from the brain to various organs and tissues will descend down through the spinal cord. At the approximate level, they leave the spinal cord and they will pass the where the structure they have to supply. So similarly, sensory nerves from the organs and tissues enter and passes upwards to the spinal cord, and then it will reach the brain. So some activities of the spinal cord are independent of the brain, that is it is called as spinal reflex or reflex arc. So to facilitate these, there are extensive neuron connections between sensory and motor neurons at the same and or different level of cords. So spinal cord is incompletely divided into two equal parts, so anterior and posterior. So anterior by a short shallow median fissure and posterior by a deep narrow septum and posterior median septum. So a cross section of the spinal cord shows it is composed of grey matter in the center, while white matter is supported by the neuroglia. So grey matter, the arrangement of the grey matter will be in the shape of letter H. So having two posterior and two anterior and two lateral columns. So the area of grey matter lying transverse, it's the transverse commissure and is pierced by a central canal, extension from the fourth ventricle containing CSF. So the cell bodies may be sensory, lower motor neurons and connector neurons. So sensory cells which will receive the impulses from the periphery of the body, lower motor neurons which transmit the impulses to the skeletal muscle, and connector neurons linking sensory and motor neurons at the same or different level, which form the spinal reflex arcs. So at each point of nerve impulses are passed from one neuron to another, there is a synaptic cleft and neurotransmitter will be present. So this is the structure of your spinal cord. So in the middle, the dot, it is called as the canal of their spinal cord. Okay, central canal, and the H shape. So this will, it is the grey matter, and the remaining white is the white matter. Okay, and this is the spinal nerve where it joins to form a ganglia. Okay, so this is the structure of spinal cord. So posterior column of the gray matter, these are composed of the cell bodies which are stimulated by sensory impulses from the periphery of the body. So nerve fibers of these cells contribute to the formation of white matter of the spinal cord and transmit the sensory impulses upwards to the brain. Next is the anterior column of gray matter. These are composed of cell bodies of the lower motor neurons which are stimulated by the axons of the upper motor neurons or by the cell bodies of the connector neurons linking the anterior and posterior columns to form reflex arcs. So posterior spinal ganglia are composed of cell bodies which lie outside the spinal cord on the pathway of the sensory nerves. All sensory nerve fibers pass through these ganglia. The only function of the cell is to promote the onward movement of the nerve impulses. So white matter of the spinal cord is arranged in 3 columns or tracts. So anterior, posterior and lateral. So these tracts are formed by sensory nerve fibers ascending to the brain, that is moving to the brain, motor nerve fibers descending from the brain, that is coming out from the brain, and fibers, that is connected neurons. So tracts often named according to their points of origin and destination. So it is spinothalamic or corticospinal. So where the thalamic region and in the cortex region of your cerebrum. So there are 2 main sources of sensation transmitted to the brain via spinal cord. So skin and your tendons, muscles and joints. So sensory receptors, that is nerve endings in the skin called cutaneous receptors, are stimulated by a pain, heat, cold, touch and including pressure also. So nerve impulses generated are conducted by 3 neurons to the sensory area in the opposite hemisphere of the cerebrum where the sensation and its location is perceived. So crossing to the other side or decussation occurs either the level of entry into the spinal cord or in the medulla oblongata itself. So the decussation means crossing, that is the right side brain will control the left side of your body and left side brain will control the right half of your body. So tendons, muscles and joints. So sensory receptors are nerve endings in these structures called proprioceptors, that is the sensory receptors, and they are stimulated by the stretch. So together with the impulses from the eyes and the ears, they are associated with the maintenance of balance and posture. So our body's balance and posture is maintained and with the perception in the position of the body in the space. Okay. So with this today's topic is over. So remaining we can see in the next class. Take care.